not too long ago, I actually read through the Dragon Ball Super Manga, and I actually caught up. I believe it's like 2 nights ago with chapter 38 with the last resort of the Universe 6. Now I'm gonna go through my thoughts of, because I must have read about 3 through 8 chapters alone, and these chapters are freaking long, yo. Like there's a lot of pages in each chapter. I'll start with the biggest change that we did get in the anime, and that's with when we got Toppo versus Goku in the I believe it was the exhibition match before the Tournament of Power. That ended up in a stalemate, but in the manga, Toppo actually defeated Goku, which is interesting to see if that would have happened in the anime. So goes to show you Toyotaro isn't afraid to experiment with new characters. Hit versus Jiren, and Hit obviously gets eliminated. He uses a different technique. I don't think we got the fight that we got in episode 71 and 72 between Hit and Goku. That did not happen in the manga. So Goku taking on most Dispo and company, the Pride Troopers. So that didn't happen that early on in the Tournament of Power. That happened like actually Dispo and Goku and Hit teamed up against Dispo and company, but Goku was having problems at that point until he went Super Saiyan Blue, charged at Jiren. We know what happened. He gets speed blitzed. Him and Hit decide to like team up. Now the first change in Hit is like he's using a technique to slow down Jiren's movements, like his time skip abilities, but he's slowing down Jiren considerably so he can avoid his hits and get some damage on Jiren. But what he's doing is he's moving himself towards the edge so he can catch Hit in, and Jiren's still holding back. And even while he's slow, he's still able to use enough power to knock Hit out of bounds. So that's like, oh my gosh. So I don't think it's impressive as his feat to break time through time itself with the time cage that Hit used in the anime, but that's still pretty interesting technique that you can slow down his opponents, just not Jiren enough. So fast forward to where we are now, and we just recently had Caulifla versus Frieza. This is where it all escalates, and she's getting wrecked by Frieza, and Frieza's like 4th form, I believe, so his quote-unquote final form. And obviously she transforms into a Super Saiyan. Frieza isn't that impressed until she goes Super Saiyan 2. So she's giving final form Frieza a run for her money. Then Frieza goes into Golden Frieza, but the way she's being decimated, Kaba comes in to like help her out. Kale wants to, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to embarrass and insult Caulifla's ego. It's kind of like the same thing with like Trunks and Vegeta back when Vegeta thought Perfect Cell got wrecked. He didn't want to release his power until Vegeta was knocked out, so his pride wasn't shattered. It's similar there because Kale has so much admiration for Caulifla. Here, she has way more personality than she does in the anime at this point in time. Like before she goes like Berserk mode, or as it's stated in the manga, the Legendary Saiyan. Now, it does not say Legendary Super Saiyan. It just says the Legendary Saiyan. So Kale decides enough's enough. She comes in, says, I'm not going to let my sister's image be ruined by this guy. So she powers up. One thing I noticed about it is Frieza's way cocky and way more demonic than what he is in the anime at this point in time. Because here he's like laying back, doing his thing. He only betrayed Frost, obviously. So, which is interesting because Frost did not get erased. If you remember in the anime, after he got embarrassed, Frost tried to retaliate, but then got erased immediately because he interfered with the total power after he'd been eliminated. So that didn't happen in the manga. So I just want to say, Caulifla did put in work, but it wasn't enough to worry Golden Frieza at all. I still want to imagine what would have happened if that would have taken place in the anime. Because we never got to see that fight. We never got to see Kale versus Frieza. We never got to see Caulifla versus Frieza for sure. We got a glimpse of Kaba versus Frieza, and he just got wrecked. So here they got more of a worthy opponent in Frieza, I guess, and they got clearly got an education of what it means to deal with a tyrant. So Golden Frieza, the way she's like keeps bouncing in the air with Frieza's death beams. Obviously, he doesn't kill her, but he's like bouncing up in the air, like just like bounce for all eternity. And she just grabs Golden Frieza, by the way, and just grabs him by the face. It's similar to what Ichigo did to Aizen. So that was great to see, because I hate this version of Frieza when he gets so cocky and he underestimates his opponents. You would think he would learn by now. No. Because they're Saiyans. No. Frieza gets grabbed into the freaking ground, bro. Kale just grabs him by the tail, and I just find it hilarious, because this is what happened with this boat. This is what happened with Topo. You know, you underestimate your opponents, and ultimately, this is what's going to happen in the Dragon Ball Super movie Broly, when Frieza gets so cocky, Broly's going to give him an education on what it means to deal with the Saiyans. So Frieza doesn't learn, and that's what happens. So he gets bashed around while Kale has hold of his tail. It's not good for Frieza at this point. So to the point where even Goku's concerned, like, I should go in, help him out. Super Saiyan Blue Goku blocks Kale's hit, and then Frieza's obviously like, out of the way. I didn't ask for your help. I don't need it. It's like she lands a hit, and like Super Saiyan Blue Goku's like, okay, this might be a problem. So, and the powers just go rapidly. Frieza kicks him out of the way, because obviously he's an ungrateful asshole at this point. Comes once again into the legendary Saiyan, obviously the Saiyan of legend. So, she buffs up. Oh man, and Vados mentions something very interesting by the end of chapter 37. She says, if she uses more power, she doesn't get control, then the total power will be the least of our worries. So, meaning that she could put everybody at risk, including her own teammates. So remember, that is coming from Vados. She didn't say anything of concern in the anime. Okay? So that is interesting to see. It's kind of interesting, because if Broly wouldn't have been stopped by Broly the legendary Super Saiyan in the original movie, would the same thing have happened to Broly? Would he have used so much power? Because remember, his power was maximum overflowing, remember? So would the same thing have happened to Broly that happens to Kale now, where she loses her mind and almost destroys herself? Remember, when Vegeta initially said this, the legendary Super Saiyan that transformed into the Great Ape, it destroyed itself because of its own power. So the risk here going in, if something similar would have happened to Broly, because Kale is a knockoff of Broly, just in a female version. So she's going nuts. So in a way, it's a great way of highlighting Kale, much different than what it was in the anime. And she's alerting everybody, like, nobody's safe. She's going berserk. She's knocking folks left and right. She eliminates 4 universes, Kale, in this manner. I don't know if people are going to be happy about that. But then she goes after Vegeta, right? From Universe 6. She goes after her teammates. I think she actually knocked Khalifa out of the way, and then obviously this is where Kaba comes up with these. She's the legendary Saiyan. Now notice he says legendary Saiyan and not legendary Super Saiyan. In trouble. A lot of universes, Vados like, she's going berserk. Upset for being a race, so she shouldn't care by any means, but she shows some concern because she's talking about it. But then she goes and tries to deal with the Pride Troopers, and then she's like having a tough time because of the team coordinated attack. So because she's at her limit, and the more power she uses, she's like putting herself at risk. Like she can. Kaba was almost going to be knocked out for not for Vegeta, so it is similar to what happened in the anime, but a different opponent that Kaba took on. So this is where things get crazy, because supposedly this has come from Kaba. Once they awaken their strength, continues to amplify as they rampage out of control until finally they're consumed by their own power and self-destruct. Does that remind you of anything like the way that Vegeta described the first Super Saiyan before Goku? That's all I'm going to say, okay? You can kind of put 2 and 2 together if you want. Obviously, Kale being a knockoff of Broly, but I find it kind of ironic that the same things said by Kaba here. So obviously Khalifa's worried about this, and which is interesting because her personality takes a twist. Here she's like a bandit when we first see her, right? She's like it's similar to the anime, but her personality is a lot different. So she's still a bit cocky, and I still think I may get crucified for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think Khalifa is my favorite female character, quote unquote, in Dragon Ball. I know a lot of people's going to disagree with that. I really don't care. I'm just stating my honest opinion. Now, and before anybody says she's got a bitchy personality, name one character besides Mai and Vados that didn't turn out to be a bitch at first. Name one female character in Dragon Ball, okay? I challenge you besides Future Mai and Vados, okay? So, and she just mentioned a quote which I thought was kind of interesting, like when Kaba's talking about Kale, about when she sees a strength like into a Super Saiyan, like it's obvious that she surpassed Caulifla, and you think she'd be pissed off. No, she's more happy because she's a protege of Caulifla, so she couldn't be more happier. So that was kind of cool to see that from a character. More than I do the power scaling. To me, that resonates more than just okay, despite who it is. So they've done this in the anime, but it is similar circumstances because Kale is on the verge of being eliminated and on the verge of like destroying herself. So they come up with the idea of using the Patara earrings to like fuse Caulifla and Kale. Only this time it's to save Kale, but this time it's a struggle because you got Kaba. He comes in to stop Kale from being eliminated. He's like actually super throwing her back, and that takes some strength, by the way, because at this point Kale is like monstrous, and Kaba's like throwing him back into the bounds. He eliminates himself, but obviously not before putting the Patara earrings on Kale. So I guess he was inspired by Vegeta to like do what you got to do. We got our own universes to worry about. So that was kind of cool. Kaba obviously takes the L, but he did it in a way that helps his team out. So that was great. I guess in the anime it's not too far away from similar to what happens here. Only it's a similar situation where Kale and Caulifla are about to be eliminated by Goku, Super Saiyan God Goku, and in order to prevent being eliminated, they fuse together to make Kefla, which is what happens here, but it's only to save Kale, which I find that is so cool. The father version of the Pride Troopers, if you want to call them that, Kefla arrives, and obviously the likes of Kokot and company get eliminated, being rushed in the total power. Now, I don't know if that's the editors like to Toyotaro to like speed things up. We've got to move things along because I don't know what's going to take place if there's going to be an arc after the total power. But if that's the case, then they're speeding things up. So all these Toyotaro speeding things up. So that's fine. Kefla fuses. Most of the Pride Troopers are eliminated. You see them there. So that was a feat on Kefla's part. And at this point, I believe she actually goes Super Saiyan right from the get-go. She doesn't waste any time, like with Goku. So, and it's putting people left and right. I believe Castle was the only one left of the Pride Troopers before Dispo, Topo, and Jiren. So, and which is interesting because Goku is like fighting with Jiren. He's like, yo, gotta help them, right? So, no need. In comes Gohan and just knocks the blast away. Now, which is interesting because I don't see a bang here, so that implies that it's not Ultimate Gohan. And Gohan's like, yo, it's great because Gohan's in a prominent role here, but I'll manage Kefla. He's not used the ultimate. Is not his ultimate mode, if you want to call it Mystic mode, because he hasn't got the bang up. People go nuts about that. This is how the chapter ends, okay? A Saiyan just like you, but born on Earth. Some Gohan is swinging it. So already Toyotaro is making Gohan a more prominent character than in the anime. So I can appreciate that. And we got Kefla versus Gohan. Now, let's be real here, okay? If Kefla is on the same... we don't know how strong Kefla is in the manga, okay? We do know how powerful she is, whether it's frustrating to you guys or not. She's able to withstand Super Saiyan Blue Goku, okay? Let's be real here. Does anybody else think that Gohan's going to... It's cool that he's facing an opponent like this because Gohan never got that much spotlight. I mean, despite Dispo, who else did Gohan actually face that was notable in this tournament? I'm not being a dick. I'm just telling it like it is, okay? And this is why people are pissed that Gohan isn't in the movie, or at least hasn't been seen in the movie yet, okay? So we'll see how things play itself out, but I don't like Gohan's chances at all, considering the power of Kefla should be way above. I found it kind of interesting how the manga plays itself out. They've obviously speeding things up with the elimination of 4 universes thanks to Kale, but now we got Gohan versus Kefla. I just wanted to get my thoughts on that because I find it interesting. There are some interesting tidbits that make things a little bit better than the anime, but I know a lot of things that piss off people about this as well. I know some people are butchering Toyotaro, which shouldn't be the case at all, because obviously Toyotaro's doing his job. Is similar, and she's like cocky, but we don't know how powerful she is in the manga. Nor have we yet to see Ultra Instinct. I don't think we're going to see Omen Ultra Instinct. We're going to see Mastered Ultra Instinct. Jiren's still a beast regardless. And actually, before Gohan steps in, Kefla was actually mentioning, oh, the boss steps up. Like, she was going to fight Jiren. Now, I know that probably would have been a one-shot in the anime or in the manga, but I would have liked to have seen that, just like see how things would have played itself out between Kefla and Jiren. Gohan is stepping up. Hopefully he can do something. He's not powered up yet, so we'll see how things play itself out. I'm definitely getting interested about where the manga is going and what may happen after the total power, because it's obvious things are being quickened. The pace is being quickened. So let me know your thoughts on that if you've gone through these chapters like I have. Do you like this twist, like the way that Kefla fused? Do you like Kale, the way she dominated 4 universes? And do you like Gohan stepping up instead of like Goku or Jiren or Vegeta, who right now is paired off with Topo? So, but Gohan's like, yo, I'm going to step up and do what needs to be done against Kefla. So let's see how things play itself out. Said that enough. Like this video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more. Catch you guys later. Bye.